Hello, welcome back to Podcast 43. I'm your host, Chris Borg, and I'm joined again with my guest host, Ice Cube.
Come on, Ice. Don't be shy. Oh man. All right. So Ice is gonna take a break. He's getting really blushy. His cheeks are red now and everything. So he might be a little nervous. But hopefully we'll get to have a few words from him.
Yeah.
Maybe in a next episode or something like that. But um I think it's because of our long feud with another music band that won't be mentioned right now.
Well,
Um,
I think he's kind of mad because we were originally gonna have Ice Cube, Mark Wahlberg, George
mhm,
Clooney, and Spike Jones, and they were all gonna be
yes.
on together, but then things kind of fell through.
Yeah, they backed out. So
Yeah.
he was the only one that showed up. He kind of got ghosted by the rest of the fellas, which kind of sucks, but we've all been there. So
But nonetheless, I guess we can talk about this movie that all four of them were coincidentally in.
yeah.
So this week's movie is Three Kings, directed by David O. Russell. You might remember him. You might remember him from such movies as
Joy.
Joy, Silver Linings Playbook, I Heart Huckabees, other '90s uh, indie movies that he got his start from, and American Hustle, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie, on the other hand, is something that I have been fascinated by because it kind of looks like one of those standard military movies that's very like, we got to save the day, we're in the military, protect and serve. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not that at all. It's also one of the few movies that is about the Gulf War, which kind of I'd expect that in an alternate timeline where the Iraq War never happened, we probably would have gotten more movies about the Gulf War, but there was,
Mm-hmm.
only really a short period of time that you could make movies about the Gulf War. And when September 11th happened, and then of course
Yeah.
Afghanistan and all that. So it kind of exists in a weird space. And I also don't think this would have been made in post 2001. So it's
Definitely
a
not.
it's a very interesting movie. It's a big budget movie, $54 million, I believe, on the budget. But what did you think about Three Kings, Fulton?
I don't really know why, but like right before I started the movie, I just had like a very this is gonna sound weird, but I just had like a positive feeling about the movie that the movie was gonna be good. And I never really was disappointed on that front. I honestly found like the my favorite part about the movie was like the directing and the acting because I just like overall like the aesthetics of the film I very much enjoyed. I thought the moments in which it needs to build tension it does extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like one of the few rare movies, I mean, just like thinking off the top of my head where I was like, damn, Ice Cube can actually be like a pretty good serious actor. I thought all the acting was extremely strong. And this just because like if I'm remembering correctly as well, I've really only seen later David O. Russell outputs, like Joy and American Hustle and stuff. I think those might be the only two.
You never
So
seen Silver Linings Playbook?
I always meant to. I just never got around to it. I remember my parents rented it at Redbox, and I told them I would watch it, and then I didn't do it before they had to take it back, which was back when Redbox was still a very popular thing. Um, but so I didn't really know what to expect from him as like a director in his earlier work, I suppose. But I remember watching um when Viceland was when they first started out, they did a thing called Vice's Guide to Film. So like when every episode would premiere, they would normally follow the episode up with like a director that they would pick a film from that director that they examined in that episode, and that would be like a thing. That'd be like an event whenever the episode would come on. So I remember watching the David O. Russell one. And so I've always been fascinated with his work. I've just never really like gone into like a deeper dive. So I'm really glad that you like kind of put this one in the rotation.
Yeah, I do think that it's kind of a bit, he was kind of on a tear post Silver Linings with how much buzz he was getting. And then he
Mm.
kind of dropped off. Like, I don't think he's made anything post. I guess he has something coming out next year, but it was like, I remember, Silver Linings, American Hustle,
Mm-hmm.
and Joy were like, I mean, well, Joy only kind of got buzzed because it was the follow up to two movies that people liked, or people seemed to
Yeah.
at least, but like,
I thought Joy was all right when I saw it originally, but I don't have enough confidence to really speak on it because this is like I saw it in the theaters when it came out originally because like my mom wanted to go see it for like her birthday or something like that.
I know
And so
you were telling me back then, you were said, I can't wait to watch a movie about where a movie about a woman that invents a mop.
De Niro was in it. It's also it's yeah, I mean, I just remember it being all right. I don't remember it being bad or anything, but definitely not nearly as exciting um as this one in terms of like the directing and just like overall like aesthetic from what I can remember.
So
But
so basically this movie is about these soldiers, George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, Ice Cube, and Spike Jones. Yes, that's their names. And so they're basically they're it's post Gulf War. They're
Mhm.
there to kind of just make sure that everything ends well, troops get out, and then they find a map, and it says that there's it says that
Do
there's
you want to go more into detail about how they find the map?
uh well, let's just say it's all because of George Clooney.
There.
George Clooney is such a seductive, he's such a seductive player
Mhm.
that he he has he has sex with what's it called?
Oh,
I said
Jody.
with Judy Greer.
Oh, Judy Greer. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, no, sorry. That was actually sorry. That was before, remember? Because
Yeah.
they've but
Well, Mark Wahlberg finds it,
yeah,
and
Mark Wahlberg finds it in a guy's butt. It's
to
hidden.
which he makes Spike Jones, yank it out and have to examine it.
Like, yeah, it's a very good scene. But they find this map that says that there's gold, Kuwaiti gold, and then they have to go on a giant treasure hunt to find the gold. And
Weird
so
heist film too.
yeah, like I mean
Ugh.
a war
Excuse me, I'm
heist.
so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Ugh.
A war heist film, yes, but also a film that critiques the US imperialism in the Middle East and their failed attempt at bringing peace to the Middle East. And it's also important to remember that when this film was made, Saddam Hussein was still alive, because
Mhm.
he that didn't happen. Saddam Hussein was not removed from power until the Iraq War. But I did think it was really funny that there were just all the murals from Saddam Hussein, like the cult of personality around him,
I like
as
the
set
the one
design.
where he's like graduating. And
Yeah,
he's got the
the cap and
graduated,
gown.
yeah, the
Yeah.
cap and gown.
Um. So they so this the way the film opens though is like they're like sad at the beginning because there's a guy standing up on like a hill, and they look at him, and they're like, he's got a gun, and then they they shoot him. It's a Iraqi,
Mhm.
and kill him. And then like Spike Jonze is like, I don't think I get to see anybody shot in this war. And like they're all just super bored of just like seeing no action and
Mhm.
just all this. And it kind of reminded me of the similarities between this film and Jarhead, another film about the Gulf War, the Sam Mendes film with Jake Gyllenhaal, because the theme of that movie, or one of the main themes of that movie, is that Jake Gyllenhaal is just so incredibly bored in the in the Gulf War and like the barracks, and he's just like, we're not doing anything. Like I just trying to pass time and stuff. And this, I
Mhm.
think this also portrays that angle because like they're bored during the actual war, and then it's not actually until after the war ends that they see some actual action in this film.
Mhm.
Um, but
And it
yeah,
escalates quickly. This film really wastes no time at all. Like I feel like it's a very like efficient film in terms of like the storytelling. Because I mean, I feel like within the first 5 minutes, you're already at the kind of you have the scene in which you were talking about where they kill the man, and then they have like a little party section, a little party montage, and I found that to be very funny. Because it's like Mark Wahlberg dancing around a bunch of troops with like an American flag on his back.
as God Bless the USA plays, one of the
Mhm.
most like grating songs. I hate that song. I think
Yeah.
it's so tacky. There's just better patriotic anthems. But I think it also shows like that, just like, extreme, um that just like extreme patriotism. Like we won the day,
Mhm.
we got rid of the bad guys, and it kind of sets up the juxtaposition of it juxtaposes that beginning scene with like the actual reality of the situation, where that really isn't the case. It's just like all these people are still stuck in Iraq, and
Mhm.
their homes are bombed, and there are plenty of people that don't like America that don't like America, and also don't like the Saddam Hussein's regime. But it's just kind of like, okay, we won, we're done, let's go, we liberated
Mhm.
Kuwait, I guess. And so that's kind of the question that this film poses: is was it worth it, and did the US do enough, and what necessarily were their ulterior motives for coming to this to the Middle East and invading Iraq.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
I agree. Yeah.
I also thought that there were a lot of kind of neat little parts of pop culture from that era in this film, like the like the Bart Simpson Jeep ornament. I've seen Bart Simpson kind of as a symbol of the Gulf War in a lot of
Mhm.
like shirts. Like there are those like bootleg shirts that I've seen before that I really want to buy, where it's like Bart Simpson, like, and it's like the Gulf War, Operation Desert Storm. I was there and it sucked, and it's just Bart Simpson in like military garb. And then it's just like a picture of Iraq. So it's like that, and then also like that scene where they bust into that room with a bunch of TVs, and the
Mhm.
stereo guy, the guy that sells stereos, and they're like watching um, the Rodney King video.
Mhm. There's also um the pro or anti Michael Jackson dialogue in this film as well, and about how whether or not um I guess what you say, like American society forced him to do what he wanted to do, or but
American society forced the king of pop to become
white.
white. Yeah. Michael Jackson is pop king of sick fucking country, is what he said. That guy was one of my favorite side characters for sure. He's
Hmm.
a he just hates America because because of the war and how his son died due to bombing, and so then he's like torturing Mark Wahlberg's character. I just can't
Mhm.
remember what his name is, but
I'd have to look back at it.
yeah, but I thought that like really stylistically, like I know you brought this up briefly, but it's so good. Like the blur, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the blur used is like great for like the action scenes. How it like in that shootout when there's that shootout where like it just stops and then it just gets super. They just use a bunch of motion blur and the frames slow down a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was like a maybe like a budgetary thing, but this film isn't just like all in one. It's not just like, oh, let's just be a crazy action movie. It's clearly
Mm-hmm.
has something more to say, but like it also has very kind of artful action.
Oh no, yeah, no. I definitely agree. Like, um, especially when there's like, because they'll do the kind of there's a name for it. I don't know if it's specifically the same thing. I just learned it in my intro to film class. There's like a name for that type of like that like slowing down, but so kind of like the slowing down the frames that you're talking about, there's a mix of like live action. They also do this kind of thing where um I'm trying to think what the right word is, because I don't want to say like contrast, but they almost like on purpose make some of the images like a little bit more gritty and a little bit more green. And I'm kind of thinking of that kind of montage when they first set out to go find the bunker, and you see them kind of throwing these like powdered footballs
They're
or
like, yeah, they're like
something.
explosive footballs.
Yeah, like explosive footballs are like throwing that in, but it's like a montage, but like aesthetically, it just looks really like gritty and kind of, but like it's like a colorful gritty. It's not like like a depressing kind of like darker tones. It's this film is kind of like very colorful in a way too. Um, and I just always found it so like visually engaging. And I think it's kind of like a travesty that we don't really like, because when you hear about war films, you tend to run like the regular ones like fuck, what's that movie called? Saving Private Ryan, films like that. But I don't really feel like I hear this one brought up and like whenever people talk about war films. And I think it's kind of and that might be due to the kind of, it sounds weird to say, but the smaller like popularity of the
Gulf
Gulf
War.
War, like you were saying. And I hate to put it in that way, but I just mean like I do agree with you when you say that it kind of got overshadowed by the Iraq War. So that might not be why. And it's also a very different type of war movie. I don't know if it exactly kind of fits in with like the typical ones, because it's like part heist film, but it is social commentary as well, which I think
Well,
all such.
I could honestly say that the war film that it's most alike is
Mhm.
Spike Lee's The Five Bloods, actually,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
because it's
I
about,
hadn't thought about that. That's a very good comparison.
yeah, because it's a group of fellas and they're going on a treasure hunt.
Mm,
Although The Five Bloods is like guys that fought in Vietnam coming back to Vietnam to go on the treasure hunt and find treasure.
hmm
Well, this is still happening as the conflict is going on, but there is that through line,
hmm
and this is also a better movie. I'm sorry, Spike. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, I think even though I'm kind of a defender of that movie, I think I agree. I would much rather kind of put this one on than Defy Bloods. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm
It's
trying to think of
also
everything, but like, there's a lot in this movie.
Well, I also there's the other journalist from the other
Mhm.
journalist that she's trying to she's trying to get like she's with them to get the story as well. And at first I thought it was Catherine Keener actually, but then I was like, oh, that's not Catherine Keener. But
Mhm.
you know, she's this other journalist and she kind of gets caught up in everything, but it kind of also highlights how much of a media driven war the Gulf War was, because this was kind of how CNN got its start and kind of where cable news really took off, when they just had like these like 24-hour feeds of just like boots on the ground reporting, like
Mhm.
of just this conflict and how ratings exploded. There's like that line in the film where she goes, this is a media war. And you know,
Mhm.
it's you know, it's reflexive in that way as well, kind of looking at the Gulf War as a conflict of pop culture and of media spectacle, which is sickening to think about. But
Mhm.
I think it really raises some good questions and some good points about
Mhm.
the US involvement in the Middle East. And even the guy says, the guy that doesn't like Mike, the guy that has his qualms about America's treatment of Michael Jackson while he's
Mhm.
torturing Mark Wahlberg, does in fact bring up the fact that the US forces trained him,
Mhm.
actually, which is kind of similarly to Al Qaeda, which
Mhm.
is freaky.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's also
Ooh.
important to remember that if Mark Wahlberg would have stopped 9/11 too. So
Oh man. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about Joe Bell during this movie. And that's a movie I have not seen, but
major
I
blind
was
spot for me and Fulton is 2021's Joe Bell.
well, I was like, because I was like, damn, Mark Wahlberg is not a very good, person, but I was like, he's actually kind of good in this movie. I feel like he fits this character very well. And then I was trying to think of other serious movies that he's done, and then I thought about Joe Bell. And famously, he put on all this weight to play Joe Bell, and then nobody saw that movie.
Fulton
I
Joe
had, I,
Fulton
mm,
Joe Bell's on Amazon Prime.
well, I guess I know what we're doing this weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
um,
Me and Fulton may have luckily, we may be going to see Licorice Pizza, but
yeah.
I think that we may actually have to kick that one down to Christmas weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
check out Joe Bell instead.
Hopefully. I mean, maybe it's a good movie. I don't know.
I mean, I
I
don't know.
didn't.
It can't be better than Stillwater, the better of the
Yeah. Fuck.
blue collar guys trying to go save their children that are LGBT.
I need to see Stillwater. I've been wanting to see it for so bad. I've been wanting to see it so bad.
It's a banger. Not
Yeah.
all right. But Joe Bell is definitely something that I will be watching before our end of the year wrap up episode. So
Hey
look
yo.
forward to that. And
I
I guess
wonder
yeah,
who we'll have on.
yeah. I wonder who we'll have on that has seen literally everything,
Yeah. Our
except for
number
Joe
one
Bell, though.
correspondent.
Number one.
Well, then that's where me and you will come in. But that's fine.
All right. So that's really all I have to say about Three Kings, is that it's a pretty cool heist movie that's also very funny, and also has a lot of things to say.
Hmm.
And just watch it more than anything, because well, if you're into like, you know, these kind of from an ethnographic standpoint, it's interesting to see where the culture was in 1999 regarding war. And I don't know, just kind of watching this and then watching, like, I don't know, maybe Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11, which I do like to recommend to people, because as a documentary, it's it's kind of an interesting documentary because it was such a big phenomena, and it kind of utilizes a lot of the footage from the leading up to the Iraq War post 9/11. I think in a really efficient way, and kind of is a good time capsule of that time. So I don't know, maybe do that as a double feature. Also, Starship Troopers,
Well,
Fahrenheit 9/11, Three
I'm
Kings, good
I'm gonna
triple
say I
feature.
have a better double feature, Chris.
Okay, one.
This and Pain and Gain. Sorry.
I that is a good point. I mean, because they both have Marky Mark, and they're both about Marky Mark and how
Exactly.
cool he. If only The
I
Rock
d-
was in Three Kings, though. If only he was acting in
oh
1999.
the thing one of the best like comedic bits I think in this movie is that Spike Jones like idolizes Troy, that's his name. He idolizes Mark Wahlberg's character.
Yeah,
It's just that bit is like it's
that's
not
really
even
funny.
it's not even like I don't know. There's just something about it that I find to be very funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. Um, I don't think I can recommend this enough. Like I definitely think like you should like go out and check this movie out.
Also, the I didn't have time to watch it, unfortunately, but David O.
Mhm.
Russell did do make a documentary about interviewing soldiers and the current war in Iraq that he made in 2004,
Mhm.
and they aired it the day before the election on IFC, or the day before the
Hmm.
2004 election, and then they just interviewed people that were in Three Kings, like that were extras and as well as soldiers. So it's like 30 minutes. It's on YouTube. It's called Soldiers Pay. The title's an homage to Faulkner.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd like to check it out. I don't really know why I don't know what the strategic
Seems
reasoning
a
for
little
that.
late.
Well, to air it on election day on IFC,
Yeah.
like, let me tell you that, like, the people that are watching IFC, they probably weren't gonna vote for George Bush.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see the overlap between Fox News viewers and IFC viewers, as in
Hmm.
two separate circles. But
Venn diagram.
yeah, but yeah, so check it out. Check out David O. Russell's Three Kings.
I agree.
All right, and we're gonna take an ad break. So I guess I have two things to talk about. I know that me and
Hmm.
you did see Come On together, so I guess we
Hmm.
can talk about that first.
Yeah, sounds good.
So yeah, we watched the new Mike Mills movie, Come On, with
Mike Mills made it.
Mike Mills made it. Mike Mills made it.
Made it.
No flex. So no. Um, but
They should know better not to use digital black and white. There we go.
yeah, that's right. But yeah, so this is the new Mike Mills movie, and if you're not familiar with Mike Mills' other films, then we're not going to tell you about them. But Mike Mills, he's this guy. He directed Beginners, which was a 2011 in their 2010 like indie movie that was kind of popular, I guess. But also in
Mhm.
recent memory, 20th Century Woman, which was a standout of 2016 films. I would say I was
I
very very
agree.
much a
I
fan of
agree.
that movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Me
and then
too.
he also directed the national short film, which was called I Am Easy to Find.
Mhm.
Uh, because Mike Mills is, of course, uh, he's
A
Mike
national
Mills.
fan.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say he's kind of a national fan, but nonetheless, he's also married to Miranda July, which is cool. That
Oh,
they probably surprised they've never like collaborated on
you
like a
would
movie.
think. I'm sure they probably proofread each other's stuff,
Yeah,
give
for
like
sure.
notes and stuff.
Yeah, it's just, they're sometimes in a couple, one person's more talented than the other, and Miranda July is just more talented than Mike Mills. Not that I don't like Mike Mills movies, but come on though, was thoroughly good. It's not didn't blow me away. I think it seems like people seem to like it a little bit more than I do.
Mm.
But uh it's basically just Joaquin Phoenix and his nephew, and he's he has to take care of his nephew because his sister is trying to sort out a issue with her ex-husband, or I guess it is her. I guess they're still married, but
Yeah.
she's trying to sort out her husband's struggles with mental illness, and Joaquin has to take care of his sister's son, and his son is this 9-year-old kid. He's very curious, very hyper, and they just have a nice little bond, and they travel across America together while Joaquin does his NPR interviews of other children for his radio show.
Hmm. Um, so I did find this movie very moving. Um, and I found it to be a very, very sweet film about human connection and human memory, and just about family in general. I do have to admit it did kind of get me at the end. I found the ending to be quite moving. But like ultimately, like my biggest thing, and this just comes down to like a matter of personal preference, but I cannot stand the way digital black and white looks. And I don't
Yeah.
know. There's just so many shots in this movie. I was like, if it just was in color, and I have no qualms with watching a black and white movie. It's just the way digital black and white, I just think has always paled in comparison to shooting a movie in, film black and white. And I understand that not every film can do that because film is very expensive. Um, so it's one of those things that like I don't know how much I want to like detract from the movie because of that. But I'm just trying to highlight like how well I thought the script was, and how much I like the story and the kind of emotions and themes that it touches on. Um and I think it kind of stands to, at least to me, the power of the film that I cannot like the visual style but still come away moved from the film. um and so I think that's kind of like where I sit with it. I don't know. I just like, there are certain shots in the film that I think do look very nice despite me not really liking the digital black and white. But then there are just, I don't know. I've been seeing this thing and it's kind of becoming a more popular thing. Um but I was gonna ask you, Chris, was Roma shot on digital black and white or was that film?
Digital black and white.
Okay. Was Belfast digital black and white?
Uh Belfast was, yeah.
Okay. I have to give it to Belfast. I have not seen Belfast. I'm only going off the trailers. That one does have the best looking digital black and white out of like the current, little wave of digital black and white that's coming out. Um, because they, I don't know how Kenneth did it, but it does look pretty striking. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. If this movie wasn't shot digital black and white, I probably would have liked it a lot more. But
Yeah, I think
not
that the
really.
contrast was a little too, it didn't feel like, I feel like it didn't really utilize the black and white well enough. Like,
I
say what
just
you
felt
want
like it.
about say what you want
Mhm.
about Mank, but at least it like was fully in, it fully had its feet in the black and white space,
Yeah,
like
no, I
this is
agree.
very much like, it's very much like I just popped in the color version of come on, and I turned down the contrast on my TV
Hmm.
to black and white, and it's just, I don't know, I just, yeah, I agree, but like, yeah, it's not the end of the world, because I still enjoyed the film overall, despite the
To
stylistic shortcoming.
do it. I just don't understand like the point of doing it in black and white. But so then if it boils down to the not having a specific point, then it was just an aesthetic that I wasn't too crazy about. Um, and I just another thing in comparison between this and 20th Century Women. I mean, that film is very, very colorful, and I think it utilizes that very well. But I also have to understand that that was like um, a different mood and a different tone completely. Um, so,
Yeah.
but it is interesting to watch them because they're both about kind of youth and also like aging at the same time. So they're interesting in comparison. But I mean, I would still say check this movie out. Um, it took a while for it to get to us here, but um, I still say check it out. It's like
Oh,
one of my favorite movies of the year. It's in like my whatever, like top 10 or however movies I have deemed to be up in that list.
well,
So
Fulton, you've only watched 9 movies this year, so
ooh,
uh, yeah. I mean, probably I'm not that high on it, but yeah, I guess it technically is in my top 10. But you know
it
what?
is by
Why
because I don't
is
have 10 lists.
I'm moving Tick Tick Boom up on my list. That's going. I like that more than Dune and Come On, Come On. All right, there we go.
Dune's in your top 10.
It is actually, but I'm probably well, no, I'm probably there. You go. No longer.
I only have 6 movies in my list right now. Those are like the only ones that I feel like actually deserve to like.
I just
um
ranked everything. That was why. Um,
oh yeah, I didn't do that.
but yeah. So I think that like the people seem to criticize the child's performance in Come On, Come On. What's his name? Woody Norman is his name.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I thought he was a nice kid. He was annoying in the way that kids are annoying, just overly curious, overly stimulated by
Mhm.
everything around them. Like
Yeah.
I can't really fault them for portraying a kid in a realistic way. Like
I mean I had no qualms with his acting or any. I mean I agree. He just felt like a regular kid. I mean, how could you not be curious when, exploring the world and learning new things every day?
exactly. Exactly. But Joaquin was good. He's he's quite chunky in this.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the beginning of like
Dad bod
of,
Phoenix.
of Belly Phoenix. And I mean that only in the best way because I loved his performance in this. But I also came to the realization, I think this is the first movie that I've seen him do first new movie of his that I've seen him do post Joker. I want to say, and I just like, I'm glad for him. He got that check. And he did a good job in Joker. I'll give it to him. But damn, I keep expecting him to just be the Joker. Like in the back of my like mind, I just think it would be so funny if he just turned into the Joker right now. And it's just, I wish I didn't have to think about that when seeing him because he is like legitimately one of my favorite, actors currently working today. He's super, super talented. Um, and so yeah, I don't know.
We should I still gotta watch the You Were Never Really Here, the Lynn Ramsey
It's
movie.
it's a pretty good movie.
Um
I do really like that movie too.
all right. Well, if that's all you have to say on Come On, Come On, now I'll talk about the real highlight of the new things that I watched this year and one of my favorites of this
Hmm.
year.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
And that would be Belfast, the new Kenneth Branagh film. which is about Kenneth Branagh, which is semi-autobiographical about Kenneth Branagh's upbringing, which I thought it was really good, like one of my favorites that I've seen this year. Because I thought that the Van Morrison soundtrack was super good, and I know that Fulton doesn't really seem to be interested in seeing it, but I will keep telling you that you should really check
Yeah,
it.
I don't know, man. I hate it's I don't know. I just feel like there's one movie I feel like there's one movie every year that I just like. I'm not trying to be um because I like to think of myself as kind of like an open-minded guy. So I'm normally down to watch whatever. But there's just like one new release every year that I'm like, "Ugh, I just don't, it just doesn't really catch me. Um, and I'm sure it's a very good movie because I was thinking about this, and the only reason I got reminded of it is because we went over Roma today in class, or it was brought up in like our presentation in the lecture that we did and stuff like that. And I remember when that movie came out, and I heard great things, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that's a great movie, but I just was not, it just did not grab me for some reason. I just did not want to see it
Yeah,
for
this
some
is, I mean,
reason.
this is Kenneth Branagh's Roma. This is true.
Yeah.
And it's also, I don't know, it just has so many moments of just, I don't know, it's just such a sweet movie. I think that the little kid in this movie just has a great performance. He's so adorable.
Hmm.
And then like you got Judy Dench, she's good like always. And I think everybody's really good. And it's kind of a movie just about finding the enjoyment in the little things despite kind of the hardship of your situation, and then kind of being pushed out of your homeland
Hmm.
because it's like just not safe to be there anymore. And I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just, and like I said, the Van Morrison, really good. I like Van Morrison. It's a shame that he now makes conspira boomer music about crazy things, but he's a very accomplished songwriter
Hmm.
before that, and he did write an original song for this movie. But the the cinematography is also kind of interesting. A lot of the shots are done through the window, so it's like it's like you see the outside of the window, and it's like from the outside, and it's kind of this neat framing device where it's like one person's in one room and then one person's in another room, but you can see both of them through the window. I don't know why Branagh picked that. It was just something that I noticed, and I was like, oh, cool.
I
So
promise I'll check it out. I
yeah,
promise.
if it gets nominated for Best Picture, I mean, I know you'll have to watch it.
I suppose so. I might have to. That that does seem like a best picture movie. That seems
Yeah,
like something that they would pick to win, you know.
and I think that like Titane is a lot better, and
I think it
even,
might be too far out there for like the academy to choose it,
oh no, I
you
was gonna
know.
say they wouldn't pick something like that. It's so
Yeah.
transgressive that like I that there would be just like, it would be especially for like conservative media, would have a
Yeah.
meltdown.
Yeah. I just still can't believe that Joker got nominated for
Why? Because it's not
I didn't
good.
get no, just like what? For
Well,
best picture? I don't know. Um, but yeah, no, that if I was going, because I don't know, though, I don't even know. I think like in February, right? It'll be so they'll probably announce them in January.
mm,
I think I want to say so. It
yeah,
should be interesting.
I'm rooting for you, Kenneth. uh
You know what? I won't watch Belfast, but tell me when Death on the Nile River comes out. I'm gonna see that.
I know you're such a big
Bro fan.
Agatha Christie.
I
You're a
think
big
it's still supposed to come out.
I don't know. You know what I didn't realize until watching the Georgia Alabama game
Mm-hmm.
on Saturday that that Kingsman movie comes out in like a week or something.
Yeah. It was originally supposed to come out, I believe, in February,
Yeah.
and then they pushed it to a Christmas time release date or something like that.
Wow.
But can you believe that this year we got two Ridley Scott movies and we almost could have two Kenneth Branagh movies at the same time as well?
Yeah, I know.
And to
Crazy.
think it probably also would have gone the same way.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately Last Duel didn't perform well. I can see Death on the Nile maybe not performing well, but we'll see
I
because
can
it's
see
got a
the
lot against it.
and I know
Don't
that
even get me.
everybody's really excited for the King's Man too.
To be fair, I am kind of excited about it because I do really like Matthew Vaughn, but I mean, we'll see. I think he knows how to make a fun action movie. Um, but we shall see. I am kind of excited for it.
I'm just, going from February to December, that feels very much out of desperation for not having enough things to put on your schedule that you're just like, because a February would imply a bad movie.
I want to say it was February. I could be wrong, but I think honestly, they didn't want to come out after Scream,
Oh
because
yeah.
then everything's gonna get all the theaters are going to be tore down in excitement, because the Scream reboot is coming out. Um,
Yeah, that's very
but
true. Well, it's
uh,
supposed to come out in November 2019.
yes,
That's so
it's been pushed
awesome.
back a lot. Um, and I'll bite my tongue if the Screen remake is good. I'll definitely talk to its praise, but it definitely looks a
I
little strange.
well, I'd say I don't know about that.
I don't know. Release dates are so funny too, but we shall see.
All right. Well, do you have anything else?
No, I didn't see anything else new besides that one.
All right.
That was my
Well,
one and only.
well, what's your top three then this week?
I was not able to get in. Oh well, yeah, I guess I was able to get in three.
Number
Okay.
one, Joe Bell. Number two, Joe Bell. Number three, Joe Bell.
Beljo. The Okay, I'll talk about this one because I'm very interested to talk about it. So I finally watched 300, Zack Snyder's 300, and I think in my letterbox review, I think I kind of have to say it again because it's just so true. I think every once in a while we get a truly uh perfect performance. And if there's one role that Gerard Butler was born to do, it was fucking Leonidas.
Mm-hmm.
He should not have done a movie before it. He should not have done a movie after it. That should be the only one.
Except for Gamer. Except for Gamer.
Okay, maybe except for Gamer. But dude, he fucking like I find it so funny because he just it's such a perfect role for him. And like seeing his beard and it's like an angular pointy beard. So fucking funny. I mean, like this film, it I mean, I enjoyed it. It's the visual style.
The
Um,
visual style's fucking disgusting in that movie.
it is. But once you get used to it, it was one of those things. I was like, this should not work, but it oddly does. And I think it only works because it's one of the few because it is a comic book adaptation. It's one of the few comic book adaptation movies that truly does feel like a comic book. Like if I can summarize what watching 300 is like, it's like watching a comic book. And I also believe that this movie could truly only be made in 2006 when it came out. Like I can't see this movie performing well at any other point in time and in like our pop culture because when this movie came out, people thought it was so badass.
I and I find I find the film ideologically to be
It's so funny.
I think I would say that the movie is fascist, like actually, like because
Hmm.
it's literally like we're the brave Spartans and we're gonna kill ourselves for the good of this. We're gonna die, but it's gonna be for the good of the state of Sparta. And we're like
Hmm.
these super military. It's like a super mil. I mean, Sparta was kind of a proto-fascist state, but it's like
Hmm.
we're this military society and we have to fight the bad Persians.
Hmm.
I just oh god, I think ideologically that movie's awful, but like it's very goofy. Like yeah,
I mean, it just, I couldn't like, I love the idea. I mean, spoilers. I mean, this movie's more than 10 years old, so I don't think I'm really stepping on anybody's toes when I spoil it. But I love the fact that Leonidas tells is like Diados or something. He's like, Diados, go back to Sparta and tell them of our battles, and then they like immediately get killed right after it. And just like Xerxes is so fucking like funny to me as well, because he's like, well, I mean, the movie consists of like half naked men running around fighting each other. You have Michael Fassbender in there, which was a really odd inclusion, because I was like, Michael Fassbender was in this. Like, it just does not seem like Michael Fassbender would be in this type of movie.
yeah.
um but yeah, no, I don't know. It truly does feel like a comic book, and it's like truly like a one of a kind like experience. Like, I don't think I really want to like rewatch it per se, but I definitely like, it was very, very entertaining. And it does have that kind of like Zack Snyder like visual style that I think is truly unique to him. Um
I haven't
but
seen the
yeah.
sequel, but
I
it's
think I
not
might
directed by
watch.
Zach.
Yeah, I think I might watch it, but I truly do think like, I don't think you can put this film and say, all right, release it now or release it in the 90s. I just don't think it would like work. Like, it truly does feel like a 2006 movie. Like, this movie could have only come out in that time period and be considered to
Be,
be badass unironically at the
be
time, you
considered to
know.
be like this like pop culture
Yeah.
watershed moment where like you
Hmm.
have that where like they make a movie like Meet the Spartans, which
Hmm. Exactly. And another reason why I tell you this movie is offensive is because I was a jaundice baby, so I would have been killed, and
oh
that made me
god,
so sad.
and Meet the Spartans, yeah.
Yes,
When they
well,
kill
and
Shrek.
300 as well, um, but
Yeah,
yeah, they did kill.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
who would have ever thought, that well in the late 2000s they thought what's more popular than 300 and Meet the Parents? We need to make a parody movie that puts them together. And then
Yeah.
Leonidas, or I don't think his name is Leonidas in Meet the Spartans, but the person that's supposed to be Leonidas, played by Kevin Sorbo, he kicks the judges of American Idol into the pit because that's another thing that was popular at the time.
It's so interesting to see how all those spoof movies age.
I
But
mean,
that,
they were
yeah,
poorly when they came out and still
yeah.
continue.
Well, just in terms of like, I feel like I don't see a lot of parody movies that they try not to do like current. They try not to parodyize like, or they try not to. I feel like a
Satire.
lot of, yeah, I feel like a lot of parody movies are so embedded in the time when they came out that you can't they can't really survive past when they came out. There's exceptions, of course, but I also watched Metropolitan with Stillman's Metropolitan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, this movie did not really click with me until like the final part. And I do realize that it was funny, but and and it is a good satire. I just didn't really like any of the characters per
Well, that's the
se.
point.
Yeah, I know, but I was kind of expecting it to be a drama. I did not know it was going to be a satire. So I was like, oh man, all these people suck. I mean, I did not like care about any of them. But then um I think there's more humanity in the last kind of third of it, where their kind of group of friends kind of dissolves, and like all the personalities kind of get boiled down even more, and I find that to be very interesting. But I think knowing that now, if I go back and rewatch it, I'd probably enjoy it. Um, but Nick stole the show for me. He was great. Um,
Nick Kroll.
he always does.
Yeah.
I was a big Kroll head when I was a kid. I loved the Kroll show.
I love the league. I honestly did love the league, but
I did love the league too
uh,
as well.
but yeah, sadly Nick Kroll is not in with Stillman's
I mean, I wish,
Metropolitan.
but
I got you. I got
yeah.
you. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, I also watched Metropolitan this week, so
No, you didn't.
yeah. Are you gaslighting me?
Maybe.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I did watch one other movie, which was Almodovar's Pain and Glory. Um, and like Metropolitan, I just don't really think I have too much to say. It is a very good movie. Both of these are very, very fine films. Um, Almodovar really has a great sense of color and production design, and directing, I think. Um, but I don't know. I just don't really have too much to say about them. So
Well, good stuff. All good stuff. I haven't seen Almodovar's Pain and Glory yet, so I know it's a pretty a downer, but
it is, but it is a very beautiful film. I mean, I would definitely recommend it along with Metropolitan as well.
in 300.
And 300. I do think you should watch 300 if you have not seen it. It's very interesting.
Like I said, the
Um,
politics in that movie are wild. Like
mhm.
also a lot of people said that, yeah, like the like, and it's also, I don't know, like you're right though, like it only could have come out in 2006.
I mean, I'm just if you're like a connoisseur like myself of just like aesthetics and like culture from like the early 2000s, because I grew up in that time, so I do, have a little bit of nostalgia for it, but I also find it to be like incredibly funny.
Mm.
Like, I just don't know, like, I love looking back at points in time, and you just have to think like, why was this popular? Or like, why was this accepted? Why were they dressing like this? Why were they listening to music like this? There's a lot of questions that get raised from the early, 2000s that I find to be so funny. So yeah. So this definitely fits into that piece of interest in me.
um but yeah, so my top three is gonna be two movies that I wasn't too crazy about, and then one that I really liked. Uh,
Mhm.
so so first off, I have the one that I really wasn't crazy about, and that is 2019's The Wandering Earth, which is a film by Front Guo. It's a Chinese blockbuster film. It's kind of reminded me of something like Michael Bay's Armageddon. But
But not as good.
Michael Bay's Armageddon I like because of in the purview of 90s culture, 90s American culture, and like the Aerosmith song Don't Want to Miss a Thing is so stupid, and it's just all part of it. This
What?
kind of lacks that. Yeah. um it's clear that there are some direct inspirations to those types of disaster films with The Wandering Earth. It feels very Hollywood in its construction and script, but it's basically these people, they have to save the day from the earth being destroyed because the sun became a red giant and they need to move the earth to a new solar system and everybody lives underground now.
Mhm.
It's, you know, it's not really that good. It's just kind of feels cliched. I don't like it's just so heavy on like the CGI. But it was made like $700 million, so it was a pretty big deal. I like watching these Chinese blockbusters just to kind of get a grasp of Chinese cinema culture. Um, but there's also other Chinese films that I would much be more interested in watching, like A Hard Day's Journey into Night,
Mhm.
or I think that's what it's called. I think it's either a harder, but it's like a Chinese art film that came out a few years ago. But nonetheless,
Mhm.
um, I also watched West Side Story, the original, the original of version from 1961, directed by Robert Wise, and I just wanted to see it because I had never seen it before and was in anticipation for the Steven Spielberg remake, which just came out, as well as the death of Stephen Sondheim. Rest in peace. The
Mhm.
music is fantastic. Sondheim's a great musical lyricist, and the orchestration is great from Leonard Bernstein. The
Leonard
cinematography is
Maltin.
Leonard. The cinematography is really good too because it's like 70 millimeter. I would love to see it on a big screen, but the one thing that I can't move past is the fact that it is a retelling of um it's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and I just don't really think that Romeo and Juliet is that interesting of a movie to me. So it's hard to beat around the bush on that. So, but it's
You
it's
can beat
fine.
on it. You don't have to
Yeah.
beat around.
This is true. And then I watched Metropolitan by Whit Stillman as well. And I really liked it. I thought it was a really nice Christmas movie. I know that you said, Fulton, that the characters are very unlikable, but like, yeah, that's kind of the point, is that these are supposed
Yeah.
to be just completely unlikable, like vapid, like people that are rich and they know that they're rich type characters.
Mhm.
And that's what I liked about it. I know that
Mhm.
Stillman kind of wrote about what he knew because he kind of grew up in those circles. And
Mhm.
I kind of appreciate him winking at the camera with this dialogue where they talk about how the rich people are responsible for all the good things in the world and we need to celebrate the bourgeois more, and like trying to come up with like new terminology. um
Mhm.
it's very self-flagellating, and
Mhm.
I thought that was very funny. I just like these types of like talky Woody Allen-esque movies. I like Last Days of Disco is another Stillman film that I think is similarly operates on that same wavelength of kind of these yuppies. Well, in that film they're yuppies. In this film they're not. But
They're UHBs.
they're UHBs. But yuppies discovering what disco is, like when disco had just completely been appropriated and gentrified by like rich people instead of that. So, similarly, this is kind of making fun of these people, despite Stillman kind of, I don't know, almost seeming, Stillman seems to be more like kind of at ease with that type of stuff now, or maybe he always was and was just kind of like, haha, I'm making fun of myself, but also not at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh, but it just kind of also has that nice, operates in that nice space of like what Christmas is, or what Christmas break is, or winter break, where in college at least, where you're just kind of like have a few weeks to kind of recuperate, and
Mhm.
just kind of hang out with people, and then you just kind of go back and do your own thing. You can kind of use it kind of as like this time of like reflection, but it's not like a super long time. I just thought that was kind of, it portrayed that pretty accurately. And yeah, I also like Tom. I thought that Tom was a good character. Surprisingly,
Mhm.
the actor that plays Tom, Edward Clements, his only movie is this film.
Hmm.
But I liked how he was like at least a little bit self-conscious about, you know,
Mhm.
helping the downtrodden, and being like, I like that part at the beginning where like they're like, so he's like saying that Tom is saying that he takes cabs, or he doesn't take cabs, and he pretty much exclusively walks and takes public transportation. And then I believe it's Chris Eigenmann's character, Nick, he goes, "Oh, you're one of those public transportation snobs that look down upon people that take taxis."
And then at the end, they're like, "Oh fuck, what would Nick do?" Okay, let's
Yeah,
take a taxi.
yeah, exactly.
So
All right. Well, yeah, that's my top three. And so do you want to tell our lovely listeners what next week's film is?
yeah. Next week's film will be The Beta Test by Jim Cummings, which is a recent release, somewhat of a recent release. And I figured since, was that last year? Yeah, it would have had to been last year.
Yeah, last year.
That we covered The Wolf of Snow Hollow, which was new at the time. I figured we would do this one because I really, really like Jim Cummings, and I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to build more awareness around his films. And it's also, you know, a way for me and Chris to kind of knock this one out in terms of you know, catching up for new releases of the year.
All
It
right.
unfortunately never came to theaters around us like I had hoped. So yeah, so now is best time as any.
All right. Y'all have a good rest of your week and stay wavy.
Yeah, stay safe.
What are we doing here?
A couple of weeks ago, I got a letter in the mail inviting me to a no strings attached sexual encounter in a hotel room. It's a pretty card, looked official. I don't know. I was stupid. I went.
What? Dude, this is nuts.
I had to wear a blindfold. But the woman. I can't even tell you.
Wait. What's going on here? Hold on. Wait, this is really happening? You really did this? In this climate?
Honey, is anything going on?
We're getting married in like 6 weeks. If anything were going on, I'd let you know.
Now I'm suspicious of everyone. Maybe it's your wife. Maybe it's my wife. People are so terrified of stepping out of line. Consequences won't go away anymore.
Jacqueline, was I taken off of the email chain with Marvel?
This is a failure. I can't use the language that I'd like to use to you right now because of the new direction that the agency and the country is going. I'm fine. Everything's great with me. This isn't a midlife crisis. I'll let you know when I'm having one of those. Hey, Jacqueline, perfect timing. So how are you gonna come in tomorrow? Let's call today a wash, okay? How are you gonna look tomorrow when you come in? How are you gonna convince me today that you're better at your job tomorrow? Jacqueline.
I think maybe now is a good time we all take a break and reassess what it is we're doing here.